So she is, it was actually filmed around here somewhere, anyway. So that movie is when she is deceased and she comes back and her world is kind of imprinted over our world, and you can see the two. My mum also talks about other planets, so if you wondered if there's life on other planets, she said, yes, they are. That yes, there is life on other planets, and these planets are highly evolved planets. They do not need or use any earthly elements. And she says that they can visit these planets with their minds, with their consciousness. That's page 127 in the book, if you want to learn about the other planets. So not only did I meditate and get to communicate with my mum, I also communicated with a very, very nice monk. He was very sweet and very gentle. During one of my meditations, I felt the energy change. So I'd spoken to Mum and my sister, and I thought I was done with the meditation, but then I just felt like there was some other kind of energy there, and I thought, oh, okay, what's this? So I kind of like stayed in the meditation, and the way that they communicate with me all the time is I'll see a picture first. So it's as if someone puts like a photograph in front of my face, and then the photograph then starts loads of photographs, so it comes into what I would say is like a movie. That's kind of how it goes. So I felt this energy, it was this monk, and then I saw a picture of a monk, and I thought, oh, it is a monk. So I was like, so see the picture in front of me, it's a monk. And then he had these, those old-fashioned scrolls that you roll out, and he's like put some candles on each corner to stop it from rolling back up. And then he was talking, said he was going to talk about life, and then he gives lessons. So he started coming to visit me, and I used to call them sermons. It always sounds like a sermon to me, give me like wisdom on life and everything. And so I used to sit, and it got to the point where sometimes I used to like it. I think, oh, it didn't matter if Mum and my sister didn't come, because the monk was coming, and I really liked his little sessions. He was just made me feel good, and I really liked his philosophy. And I remember one time we had been, I'd been writing his stuff down, and at the end he said it was time to go because my sister Linda had been waiting. She was waiting because he's like, I have to go. He says, there's somebody else here who you know is waiting. And it was my sister, of course. And so he signed off, and he said, he signed off your friend, the monk. And I remember crying because I thought, oh, we are friends. This complete, whoever it is, we were friends. I felt like we had certainly formed this relationship. So the book is filled with a lot of philosophy. And then I think Native American Indian, and he came a couple of times, but he was very stern. He was putting the world back on track. All the damage that's been done to the world, he wasn't pleased about that, and he came and told us about how we should be more kinder to the earth and things. But that's in there. I wasn't going to put his writings in the book because it didn't sound very uplifting or chirpy. It just sounded like, oh, really, like he was telling us off. And I thought, oh, I'll put it in. And then my sister and brother said, no, put it in. They said, people don't want to read it, they can skip the chapter and go to something else. So I said, all right, he's in there, so you can read about him. But it's actually quite interesting what he has to say. But you can, when you read him, about his writing, you can actually feel him come through because he has like short, choppy sentences as opposed to nice, long, loving sentences. He gets right to the point, our Indian friend. So, moving on, I do want to say that a couple of times I was transported or sucked out, if you like, want a better word, and taken to see the spirit world. Now, when it happened, I didn't know it was going to happen. I remember I've been doing like my meditations, and I would sit for 2-3 hours, and I loved them. Oh, that was just the best place to be. I could sit there 1, 2, 3 hours. It was great. And this one time, I've been sitting there, and I think I was getting on for like 2 hours at the time. I kept thinking, oh, is this a 2-hour one or a 3-hour one? What's it going to be? And I was just about to thinking, oh, nothing's happening, I'm probably going to wind down. Because you have to wait, you know, in between. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was being, like, this energy was like pulling me or sucking me out of the top of, out of my head. And I thought, ooh, what's going on? And then I started, the first time, so I always have my pen and paper, right? I've always got that with me. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like my protection. I write everything down, everything I see. So I'm writing down, I'm feeling like I'm being sucked out the top of my head and I don't know what's going on, I'm writing it down. And then when I got to the side, it was like I was in this really nice garden and the words, the Garden of Eden, came into my head. So I thought, okay, so that was what I wrote down. I felt, okay, let me look. I'm just going to read where I actually wrote. So I found my body being sucked up through a hole, and it come through, going through like some golden yellow light. It was like, felt like I was going through like the sun, like it was that bright and sunny. But it wasn't hot or anything. And I felt the energy that was rushing through me, and my body was feeling like lighter and lighter. And then I go further up, and I end up going through the white light of God, is how I wrote it. Oh, before I finish this sentence, so I have my sister, my mom, the monk, the Red Indian. And then, the last couple of months when all this happened actually, I got what was called the group. And I asked them what their name was, because it was different energy again, it was a heavier energy, and I didn't know what it was. I'm like, well, who are you? And I'm like, we're a group. I'm like, okay, do you have a name? No, you don't need a name, we're a group. I'm like, oh, okay. So they started giving me philosophy, and the monk dwindled away, right? So now I've got Mom Denise and the group. So this is the group, who's my new friends now, and I've been doing this, gosh, about 8-9 months, doing 2-3 hours a day. And so this group, who I have no idea who they are with me when I'm transported to this garden place. So the group instructs me to look around and to see who is there to greet me. So I saw my mom and Linda. They were there to greet me, and I remember being able to physically feel like their presence for a hug. I could feel them. They were real. And then they took me there to see my grandmother, who lived in. It was like a little house. Again, so they have a replica of, not the exact same house that she lived while she was on Earth, but nonetheless it was some kind of building. I guess it was a house where she lived, and she was in there. And so Mom and Linda took me to see her, and that's page 171 of the book. You can read that. And then the visit ended, and then I was took back into the garden, and this was the weirdest thing ever. I could feel the grass, but I could feel my toes wiggling in the grass. Like it was strange. I could see the grass, I could smell the grass, like you could smell the grass, you could feel the soil, you could smell the soil, and then I'm like, oh my God, my toes are wiggling in this grass. It was just a very, very strange sensation. Nothing had ever happened to me before. Who would have thought something like that could happen? And then the next thing I knew, I was plonked back on the settee, just like that. Like no journey back, no back through the light, no back through the air light, nothing. I was just like wiggling toes in the grass, thinking, oh, this is weird and nice. And then I was just like plonked back on the settee again. So a week later, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they're going to let me do that again. I don't know. And I used to ask, can I go again? Can I go again? How does this work? How do you get to go again? What can I do to get there? And, the lesson I learned is you don't get to say when you go. They decide when you're going. Right? So every day now, like the stakes are higher now. I'm getting nice messages from Mum to me. It's Linda to me something, and I was getting like messages from my mum and things. It was all nice. But now, whoa! I've gone to this place, this garden place, and I saw my mum, and it was just great. And so, of course, when I meditated again, that's what I wanted. I wanted that exactly again, you know. So I tried that. So I think it was about a few weeks later, it happened again. It just, they decided when, and I felt like I was being sucked up again out through my body. But this time when I was traveling, it was like I could see planets everywhere, like I was traveling in outer space. There wasn't any white light at this point, I was just like traveling in space. I could see like all these planets and everything. And then I landed on what I described as a silver-coloured planet. It looked like silver, and I ended up landing on this planet. And the group, my little crowded group that came to see me, they said, I could hear the words, because they talked to me. I don't know what they look like, all I could hear is their voices, and they would say, okay, now this planet takes samples of the Earth, and they like to see what's working and what's not working. And that they were showing me like this room, it had like test tubes in it, and someone wearing like a white coat, so it looked like a science lab. And they said to me, they don't need to wear, you know, the white coats, they don't need all this stuff, but that's for your benefit, so you're aware that it's a science lab. Just a second. She says, "Oh yes, you don't need to wear them." And then they showed me some other rooms. So they take me to what looked like rooms. So I'm in this silver room to begin with the science lab. Then they take me to this room that was all like it was blue, and the group explained that they were looking at ways in this blue room to look at technology, like how to advance technology on Earth. They took me to a red, yellow, green room, all with different activities going on, and all these rooms were set up to help improve planet Earth, is what they said. So, for example, the example was, so say a new cure for something, a new cure for an illness or something. They have people in the spirit world who are actively trying to come up with solutions to help the doctors and the scientists here, and the way they do it is they put ideas into their heads. So they'll put an idea into a scientist's heads, and then hopefully that will take off. So I guess just the same way that my sister puts ideas in my head, they do that. So that's how they explained it. And then they said, and this was really sweet. They said that there was a pink room, and they said that this is where the souls come to both sides, the souls over there and the souls in here. They come to release and soak up all the love that is in the room. And then once they have all this love, it goes back out to the earth. So the third time they took me to the spirit world, this one is a little bit different. There was no, didn't feel any sucking up out the body or anything like that. It was a day when it was I used a visualization technique. So I was having trouble like being settled. So in order to meditate, you have to like quiet your mind and be settled, and I was having difficulty. Even though I've been doing it all this time, and so I could do for hours, you got your off day. You have to say, you get your off day. So I was on where I thought was my odd day, and I think, oh geez, what am I going to do? So I went all the way back to what they taught me at the Arthur Finlay College for the meditation. Again, what we're going to do later. So I actually went back and practiced myself. They teach you to go up like a flight of stairs. Imagine a picture of a staircase to go up. Go up top of the staircase, and then you go along a hallway. And this is the most fascinating piece when you start doing your meditations. You can set your intention when you do the meditation. So when you get up the hallway, you can go in any room and call it what you like. You can call it a past life room if you want to go in one of them, and say, hey, I'm going to go into a room on the right, down the hallway, it's going to be my past life from 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago, right? Or you can, wherever I want to go meet with my loved ones, that room. So wherever you intend to happen, you guide them, you see. It's a two-way communication. They help you and you help them, but they've got to know how to help you. So I was going on my meditation, I was going up my stairs, got to the top, and I was feeling, oh, okay, I'm getting back into it now, but still needed a bit more help, so like, okay, there's a corridor, right. And then, I thought, what am I going to do when I get to the top of the corridor? What do I want to do today? Who do I want to talk to? What shall I do? My meditation. So what I did was, I was drawn to this door in this corridor, and it was closed, but it had like this big white shining light through it. And so the light was shining through the door, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I should go through that door then. All the other doors with no lights on, lights all off, and I thought, well, that must be the door. So I go through this door, and the door pushed very easily open. So I just kind of touched it, and it pushes open. And then once I'm inside it, I saw these clouds. Puffy white clouds, and what was amazing, I could just easily like walk through them. And when I got through the clouds on the other side, I was in this place where there were people sitting around on benches, like a picnic style bench, like the wooden benches. That's what it looked like. There's some people sitting there, and they were close to me as I am to you, and they looked at me, and they could see me. They could see me, and I thought, oh, they can see me. What do I do now? So I was just like smiled and thinking, what should I do? These people appear to be very real, and I'm here. So one of them moved down on the bench area, and then as if to say, come and sit. And what they had been doing, they had been studying, like they do study on the other side. And it was like a recess, and they were sitting around this table. Again, that is in the book, page 202. So I'm coming back out of the picnic area. I'm going back to my room with the light on. I'm closing the door, and I'm thinking I'm going back down the hallway, and I'm going back down the stairs. And then I saw what looked like a woman on a donkey or a mule, and I thought, oh, who's that? What's that? And so, as I'm trying to figure out who's this lady sitting on the donkey, I heard these words: Mother of all nature and nurture, who gives love to all. And then the woman spoke, rise up and live your life with God's love, and you can never be alone, for His love walks with you all day. Come into this love, and your life will be happier. Walk with love. So that was Mother Mary. I hesitate by saying that because you may think, gosh, how can someone see Mother Mary? But I did. And so I wrote it in there. And I don't know if anyone's had experiences here in the audience about seeing Mother Mary or Jesus. Okay. All right. So that leads me into Jesus. Okay. I did see Jesus 3 times in the travel period. So. I'll read them to you. They're short. The first one, it says to read page 75. Page 75, you keep okay, so the first time I was in a meditative state, and I had been seeing